So throughout this last 6 months or so, I've been liaising with shopping centres around the country and across in New Zealand to book a site for you. In a few weeks' time, you'll start to bring into the centre a store to put on that site. That store needs to end up exactly where the shopping centre wants it. Okay, and the reason for that is because it's in the corridor in the centre of a mall within the shopping centre, and people need to be able to get past. They need to be able to get across. It needs to be far enough away from the signage display that somebody's paid for. It needs to be near the power point and so forth. So it needs to be put down on the ground exactly as planned. So the way we manage this process is that as I have booked the sites in the shopping centre, I've sent out Marcy to draw a plan, or I've sent out Janice to draw a plan and to meet with the casual leasing manager, the CML or casual leasing manager, to draw a plan that exactly puts the store in the right spot so that it doesn't need to be moved. So you might think, why is that important? If you speak to some of the repeat licensees, they will give you a horror story, because once a year we have the situation where somebody has put their store in the wrong spot. The centre manager comes out and he says, I need it moved that way 5 centimetres. And you say to him, 5 centimetres? And he says, I've got to make sure that I obey the law, and if there's an emergency I can get people past. There isn't enough clearance on this side, there's too much clearance on that side, move it across 5 centimetres. So after we built the store this afternoon, you will see just how difficult that is to move this thing once you've got calendars up on top of it. So it's very important to do the site inspection with the casual leasing manager and make sure that on your into the centre night, your build night, you're able to put it in exactly the right position. And that's why in your toolbox you'll find a tape measure. So each one of the plans that you get should identify something in the shopping centre like an expansion joint. So you know what an expansion joint is? That's the black strip across the tiles that separates them so that things can expand and contract without. That's not going to move. There might be an ATM machine, jolly big heavy ATM machine nearby. It's not going to move. Don't use a planter pot, because the planter pots will get moved about. There might be a particular tile pattern on the floor that you can identify a point from which to measure. And in each of the plans that we've had signed off by the casual leasing manager, there will be a point identified for you to measure from. You need to go and meet with that person so that you can understand that plan. So how do you go about doing that? Just rock up?
No,
make an appointment. Very important to ring ahead, and we will send you out the site inspection with the contact details on the front page. We'll send that out to you, and you'll need to make an appointment, because the casual leasing manager might have 3 or 4 centres to look after. So if you rock up to Fountain Gate on a Tuesday and they're actually at Doncaster on that day, you're not going to be able to meet with them. And also, it's not particularly professional. Another thing is that, who do you think actually runs a shopping centre after 5 o'clock at night? When are you going to be putting the store onto the ground? At night, after 5 o'clock. So the guy in charge is going to be security, so it's probably a really good idea to have his phone number. Make sure that you talk to the casual leasing manager about a couple of other things like access. What do you think you need to know about access when you're going to be there building your store?
The easiest way to come in to get in there,
Yep.
with the security guard helping you to get in.
That's right, and
Bins and things for all the rubbish.
find out where the bins are for rubbish, because on build night you're going to have rubbish. You can't just leave it in your store, you can't just put it anywhere. You'll need to identify where that goes. We've got another suggestion here. Parking. So you're going to have a team of people that help you on your build night. You need to know where they can park securely. Also, you need to know you're going to have a large truck with all this equipment on it. You need to know where the loading dock is.
with storage.
Okay, so this is your opportunity. If you've got storage, and we'll talk about storage later on, if you've got storage, this is your opportunity to locate your storage, work out how far from your store it is, work out how to get from the storage to your store, work out how to get from the loading dock where your replenishment deliveries will be delivered to the storage. Okay? What else about storage when we're doing the site inspection might be important? Chris?
Have you got your own key and padlock? Do you need a key and padlock to lock up your storage or anything like that?
That's a good point. So you need to find that out. Yes?
The loading dock.
Find out where that loading dock is. That's come up 2 or 3 times now, which is really good. Yep.
Whether there is actually shelving or whether you need to arrange your own shelving.
Okay, so we're going to give you a space that might be just 2 metres by 2 metres. That's not a lot of space to store all these calendars. You might be lucky and it might be 15 square metres, it might even be 30 square metres. But if it is your own 2 metres by 2 metres or 2 metres by 3 metres, what you've got to remember is that you've got height as well. So you might be able, you will identify the size of it. You've got to work out for yourselves how to best utilise it, whether you need shelving and so forth. What other sorts of things do you think I need to check out when I go to do my site inspection? Remembering that the key thing is to locate where the store goes exactly. What else might I need to know?
Availability of trolleys and
Okay.
so on.
So you might ask for the centre if they have, you can use or borrow trolleys. You would also ask whether or not you can bring trolleys through the centre and at what times, because sometimes they're pretty cool about it and you can use a hand trolley at almost any time. Sometimes they're really strict about it and they don't want you to use them at all. Okay? One of the things that predominantly centres frown upon is using shopping trolleys from Woolies or Coles or IGA. They frown upon that. They don't like us to do that because that's for IGA or Coles customers. What other sorts of things can we consider?
The distance from your store to your storage, so you actually know, like you know
Yep.
it's taking 10 minutes to do getting the stock when it takes you an hour.
Absolutely. Now another job that you'll need to do is banking on a regular basis. So during your site inspection, what about banking?
Yeah, just put banks.
So we need to look for the nearest Westpac bank. It may not actually be in the centre, it might be on the street outside the centre, it might be in the nearest suburb, but it's a Westpac bank that you'll need to find out where that is.
Currently, we have 2 warehouses operating. One is in, well, both are in full swing. They're currently shipping both fixture and also stock out to the stores. So some of you guys might have had phone calls, emails, SMS messages saying the goods are on their way. Excuse me. So basically, with transport this year, because we've got WA people in the room,
So Bruce, while you're catching your breath, mate,
I'll talk to you fast.
this is what you expect to get in terms of fixture, is that correct, Bruce?
Correct. There's actually 2 pallets like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then in terms of, that's what you're going to get in terms of fixture in your initial delivery. So how big are those pallets, Bruce?
Those pallets weigh each pallet around 400 or 500 kilos.
And how, in terms of length with height?
With the fixture oversized, you can see they're actually overhanging the pallets because you've got your prepack boxes which you see on the floor down the back there.
Yep. And do you need any of this stuff back?
It's basically everything we send you in the first delivery, which is your fixture delivery, the pallets, the boxes, even the blue strapping. You hang on to that because at the end of the season, what we send you, we need you guys to pre-pack it and send it back to us.
So fixture's going to come with 2 pallets like that.
Correct?
Okay. Then we've got a picture up here. What's this, Bruce?
Bruce, how do we get on the truck?
Okay, so your first deliveries, we're organising with, in WA, XL Transport, and in Victoria, NQX stroke Toll Fast, deliver the goods to you on a rear lift truck. So basically, there'll be phone calls happening and emails and messages that will coordinate this to you because, yes, we know they are big, they are heavy, and basically the truck is designed to actually drop it at your storage, at your home, at a warehouse you might be using to receive the stock.
So what's a rear lift truck?
So that's the one with the hydraulic on the back, so that the truck will get it as close to or into where you want the goods put.
So this
So then it's easier and closer for you to unload. Basically, the truck driver, he is delivering it to you. He's not there to unload. So that's where it's also very important that you actually have people there to help you, because your first delivery, as Steve, as we've shown you, has roughly 8 or 10 large, heavy boxes, and some of those boxes weigh over 40 kilos, so you need to have 2 people lifting those, and they've got stickers on them to identify them as being heavy.
They have a pallet jack.
Those are pallet jack. But bear in mind that if it's a flat level surface, they can get it to where you want to get it to. But some of you guys, I don't know, there was a picture of someone in New South Wales where it's being delivered to an apartment and they had storage as their garage underneath. He could only get it to the top of that driveway. So then you have to actually, the people have to actually carry those boxes down into their storage. Going back to the stock fixtures, depending on your size store, you will receive 2 to 3 pallets. And that could be over 60 cartons. Again, each one of those cartons, as Andrew showed earlier, on average they'll weigh around 10 kilos. So you've got 60 or 70 boxes weighing that amount. So that's a lot of boxes to move. So, and that's where you need help.
So these are all about the initial deliveries, and the initial deliveries, correct me if I'm wrong, Bruce, but they come with a rear lift truck to make things easier.
Correct.
Will the replenishment deliveries come with a rear lift truck?
No. So with your replenishment deliveries, which are going again to your nominated delivery, which could be a storage or hire, they'll be delivered by, again, a regular driver, hopefully. But it's up to you to help him unload it off his truck onto trolleys or whatever you've got to move the goods. So having a 2-wheel trolley or some kind of trolley available to move the goods is, it's going to help you. Again, it comes back to OHS safety. You're going to be moving lots and lots of boxes repeatedly. You've got to move them safely.
So I'm going to bring up a slide just so that.
I just wanted to ask, do they do before and after hours or weekend deliveries? Is that included, or has it been standard business?
Yeah, and basically, so as far as deliveries coming to you, there'll be lots of bells and whistles put on your first deliveries, because we know they're big, heavy, awkward, and you need to coordinate it. So we'll be SMSing and also emailing you the details when they should leave the warehouse. So that's saying that it's in transit for interstate. Everyone gets a message when the stock is ready to leave. As far as the Melbourne stores, there'll be phone calls made from our office to coordinate when we're going to deliver that stock to you, because it's the same. It's virtually leaves us this morning and it's with you that afternoon, which is different to the interstate ones.
At the end of the season, does the truck come that can pick up the pallets?
Yes, so because we know at the end of the season we're expecting 2 oversized pallets, virtually as you receive, there'll be a rear lift truck come to collect them. So virtually in your garage, which is probably the simplest way of doing it, you assemble that pallet. We'll actually send you shrink wrap the pallet, and then the guy will come in, lift it up, take it out. A good example is one I said before about New South Wales. There's no point assembling the pallet down in the guy's garage because the pallet jack wouldn't get down there.
When the courier delivers the pallets to you, if you're starting the business for the first time, does the Calendar Club do the invoice for the courier to deliver it to you, or do we get a bill for it for delivery? How does that work?
So as far as freight is concerned,
Yeah.
Calendar Club is paying for the freight. There's no charges.
we
Yeah,
pay
I wasn't sure whether it was done then or at the end of your sales, then you... Yeah.
No. As far as that might be an idea I might look at next year.
When you're starting a business.
Can we have 2 tickets for this later? Sorry, Martin.
I said I can answer that. All of your freight charges from Calendar Club warehouse to your storage is paid for by Calendar Club. Licensees do not need to worry about it.
So another scenario, if we deliver to you each week, and once we're in season replenishment, we will deliver to you each week a delivery. and that delivery is designed to arrive on Wednesday or on Thursday, a nominated date. And that's where you guys can actually coordinate to have an extra person there to meet the truck, take the stock from the guy to your store or to your storage facility, because basically he's designed to deliver it to you, to storage, but he's not designed to take it into your storage, help you check it off or stuff like that.
So can we allocate that day?
So does that mean I get
No,
2 tickets?
No, as part of the details we'll send you, we'll let you know what day we've organised it for. So we're basically, to go back a couple of steps, we have 106, 108 stores in Australia, where the warehouse design is to pick certain stores on certain days to ship to around Australia. So we can't be swapping and changing days to pick a certain order to go to a certain store. So the replenishment program, which was part of the details we sent you, basically says that we want to ship it to talking WA, we'll be shipping it on Friday, and it's designed for the freight company to deliver it on Wednesday. So the WA people, if they're in the room still, person, you can expect your replenishment delivery every Wednesday once your store's open.
Okay, so, I've got a question and then we'll move on to...
Actually, so would you guys 3 or 4 days notice when the stock's going to arrive, or how would it work?
No, virtually, as far as talking Victoria,
Yeah.
virtually we're in the process of bringing you and organising for that to come to you as soon as possible.
So that's a really good lead-in question to the slides that we've got prepared here. There are 3 touch points as for every delivery. The first one is that we will send you a text message saying that something that's coming to you has left our building. And that will be a text message and an email, and one of the key pieces of information on that text message and email is the consignment note. And then you'll be able to track that on a website. Okay? Now we'll go through the slides and we'll make you aware of which websites are related to which states. And then at some point in time, usually a day before your delivery is expected, you'll be able to ring up using a phone number that we'll make you aware of, ring up the freight company and arrange that window of opportunity, that window of time in which to expect the delivery. Is that correct, Bruce?
That's correct, and that is really focused towards the interstate licensees. For you guys in Victoria, who are virtually we're picking and packing it today, and I'm talking primarily the replenishment ones, we'll be picking and packing it and you can expect it on that day, so you can actually organise it. So by the time you get your SMS stroke email, you can know that that stock is actually coming to you the following day. Because we're virtually packing it today and virtually programmed to arrive the following day.
So hands up in the room, who's here from Western Australia? So there's a group of people here from Western Australia. These are the details that Bruce will go through. It's with XL Express.
With both websites, one being XL and WA, you can go onto their websites. We'll be part of that text message stroke email will be the contact number and also a reference number. And by going onto their website, you'll be able to track that. For XL Transport, it is virtually end-to-end, so it's the one company using it. I think we can go to the next slide.
So that's the slide. So that website is up on the screen, and it'll also be published on the communications portal, and we'll clearly communicate how to track that through. And then there's a phone number that they can use to contact the freight company once the stuff has arrived, about 24 hours out from delivery, and you can contact that and organise that window of opportunity. Now, who in the room is from Victoria?
So with Victoria, we're using Toll Fast, which is for the metropolitan stores. Basically, if you're we'll be actually sending that stock to you and making phone calls, letting you know when it's coming, and organising times. With freight companies, organising times is also a difficult thing. That once something leaves us and is in transit, things can go wrong. Domain tunnel can get blocked, or for whatever reason. They'll get it there as quickly as possible, but you've got to have a reasonable size window. So if we say that it's coming in the afternoon, it'll get there in the afternoon. but it could be as late as 4 o'clock, it could be as early as 1 o'clock, depending on when it actually leaves us.
So a freight company can't deliver to me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
They can be as close to that time as possible, and generally the time that you receive your delivery each Wednesday, you should expect it around that time.
Okay, but, so what are they actually going to give me? Are they going to tell me somewhere between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, or 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock? Or?
They'll basically give you about a 2-hour window.
So they can't deliver on exactly the same time. They can't agree that it's going to be 2 o'clock because they don't know what the traffic conditions are going to be like, so they'll give you a time window.
Correct.
Okay.